Okay, now with that said, I am going to go on and start talking. We are going into a little bit of out of order, but we're going to go into an article that is actually article number 1 when it comes down to what's on D2L. So we didn't start with article 1. We started, I think, around like 7, and we kind of went pretty much straight up until where we ended off. But now we're going to go with article 1. And I like this because it's really some Harvard researchers in psychology. And I always sit back and fascinated by how what we see oftentimes some of these Ivy League institutions, it's in what makes different from other research is not that they have so much money, but it's the ingeniousness that they approach and what the topics they wish to study. And I think that's very interesting. So I like this. It's simple, it's recent, but look at how meaningful it is. And look at how if you internalize this information after we read it, it will benefit all of you. I want to give you guys a couple of updates. We talked about this the last meeting. Exam number 3 is right around the corner. Exam number 3 will be based off the content and the items that we talk about in today's lecture. And today is going to be a little bit different. If I can get it done, I'll be a little disappointed, but if I can get it done the way I want to, today's going to be a little bit different in terms of how we go over this article, right? And then the other articles that we've read will be on it. And then also the content. We've been watching the videos. We've been answering the reading assignment quizzes. That's what's going to be on exam 3. Just like every other week, we got the testing surveillance software. Please be aware of it. I think I told you I caught one person last time. It was not something that could be disputed. They really just thought they were slicker than me or the software. That's a 0. Luckily, you get to drop an exam. So if that person sticks around, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, that software is really painting a picture of what you guys are doing, guys. Don't sit back and take that seriously. Even though we are in a virtual environment, you guys are only meeting once a week. There are some expectations. And I'll tell you, if you guys are watching the videos and taking notes, and you guys are coming to class or watching this video on D2L, talk to a student the other day that didn't know that I'm recording these lectures, posting them to YouTube, and making them available on D2L. That is the case. Trust me, what we're doing right here, right now, these words will be posted on YouTube. So if you don't come to class, you can still participate in what we're talking about today. And if you're in a situation in which you are trying to help prepare for the exam, one way to prepare for the exam might be to watch these lectures over again. And I don't mean sit down in front of the computer and like really attend 100%, but cut your computer on in your room, cut your iPad on in your room, play this conversation over, right? So that you can do multiple things and you can kind of put yourself back into this situation. That type of repetition will be very beneficial for you to really make sure that you gain the content. Studying is really about repetition, practice, and strengthening what you know. It doesn't have to be boring. And there are certain times where I need your full attention, like taking an exam and when we're reading this article. But studying and refreshing your information does not have to be 100%. The day of, sit down, focus 100% and study before taking the exam. But you can, in very easy, relaxed environment and approaches, get yourself reminded of what's important in this class. All right, so I am going to ask for an individual. Let me make this screen a little bit smaller. Right? I'm going to ask for an individual to read the title, right? But then also to read down to that portion of the webpage. All right, is there anybody who is here? Oh, we only have a small group today. A little upset. We got a small group today, but is there anybody who's willing to read that segment of what we're doing so far?
I'll read it.
Okay, go right ahead. Thank you very much.
Stop asking, how are you? Harvard researchers say this is what successful people do when making small talk. Do you want me to read the 2 paragraphs?
Just the first paragraph.
Okay. How are you? These are the 3 most useless words in the world of communication. The person asking doesn't really want to know, and the person responding doesn't tell the truth. What follows is a lost opportunity and meaningless exchange with 0 connection.
Exactly. Now, I want to sit back and make sure you guys understand this. Now, where do we think this article is going, right? Because it's going to an aspect. And I'm going to be honest, I was just on a Zoom this morning and it's a big coalition. And the individual started off by trying to use some of these techniques. I'm not sure if they read this article or not, right? But what they're saying is this, and you know, this is very true for men. I think females are a lot better at doing this, but you know, having conversations, I'll tell you, there's a colleague at this institution that it really bothers me. And I think how cultural and gender norms and also expectations play a role in which I feel like meaningful conversations don't occur. I remember I was sitting down at a little faculty reception with the faculty member. I actually like this person, right? And talking to them, sitting back and leaving. And we're joking, we're talking about some students that we knew, about what I could do with certain activities on campus to support them. They can come to my class and support me, right? But here's the issue. As soon as I got up, right, and left, somebody else sat down. I wasn't even in eyesight, right? And I wasn't even out of ear sight. As soon as I stepped away, this individual was just like, oh my goodness, how are you doing? I'm so glad to see you. How are your kids? We sat and we talked. We didn't talk about children at all. Also, my husband's here. He's walking around somewhere. I can't wait for you to meet them. I was like, what the heck just happened? We just sat back and we talked. I actually like this person, admire this person, right? However, our conversations were really business to the point, right? This other individual, when they spoke to them, they brought them into their personal lives. They brought them into, how are you doing? How are you How are your children? How I want you to meet my husband who's also here. I didn't get any of that. And I think from that event, this probably happened about 12 years ago. This lets me know like how long I hold on to stuff, right? But I sit back and see these interactions. And I realize that I believe that females are much better at doing this than males. And I think part of it is really the assumption that since I'm a guy, that's the same. You can't see me doing my quotations since my camera's not working today, right? But since yeah, it can't detect my camera. 1 second, guys. I'm going to sit back and see if I can fix this camera. This is really bothering me. I don't see video. Check the video selection. Yeah, restart my computer. And I didn't do that. I'm not going to do that. All right. So yeah, we won't do that, guys. It looks like I'm stuck. All right. So I couldn't get it. Yeah, well, we'll just go with that. You guys will have to not see me, just be able to hear me today. Right. But I realized that those kind of connections, they're really kind of like gender expectations as well. Right. So, but this right now is very good because I really believe, especially in the social science for myself, it's a discipline that's dominated by females. In order for me to be effective, I've had to master some of this and to explicitly address for what others might bring to the table and assume to me so that I can be maximally effective in this discipline. And a lot of males, depending if you're in the workplace, I know the last male Cheney University female basketball coach, I knew him. And he also explicitly addressed, you know, interpersonal skills and relationships in order to be an effective coach. He couldn't bring his skill set to the table. He had to sit down, research, and study it. So I'm giving this to you guys, right? We need to find out how to make some meaningful conversations so that we can get the most out of people, which is what many people call human capital. All right, can I have another individual to read this next paragraph? Starting here, ooh, hold on. Ending, oh my goodness. Ending with that likable. I don't know if we can see it.
I can read.
All right, thank you so much.
Sorry. But the key to making the most out of small talk, according to Harvard researchers, is to simply ask the other person follow-up questions. In a series of experiments, researchers analyzed more than 300 online conversations and found that those who were asked more meaningful follow-up questions, aka questions that aren't "how are you" or "what do you do," found the other person much more likable.
All right, so let's think about this. Like, it's not even just a situation about what you're trying to do if you're interacting with people, right? It's also how they respond to you. They will find you much more likable. That's very key. Again, I kind of don't want to tell too many stories about myself, but I know one of the things that I used to do when I was at Morgan, and it's really funny because I think it actually helped me gain a relationship. Not that you guys care about it, but it's really funny. When I was an undergrad, there's a certain way that we would walk across campus. I went to Morgan State University, and if anybody knows Morgan State University, there's like this bridge that many people hang out in between classes. We just hang out at the bridge, kind of where like everybody has to go through this bottleneck experience on campus, and you just spend your time there. I think we had about 15 minutes between classes, so it was enough to run out there, hang out, talk about people, laugh at people, comments, interact, get caught up with people. Well, I just remember that the sun always was a particular way. And when I would walk on this bridge, the sun was in my eyes to the point that like my face was like kind of wrinkled up. And it was kind of like the sun was in my eye, right? I would always sit back and walk across campus, and people would see my face having these facial expressions, right? That are really almost implying that I'm like in a foul mood. People that I knew would be like, "Yo, you all right? You good? You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." When I started talking to people that I didn't know, the way that I was holding my face in reaction to the sun being in my eye made it so I was not very approachable. What I ended up doing, is about being a little vain and everything, was to sit back there and go get some shades, right? One of my friends was like, "Oh, you got to fix this." We went out and got some shades. The shades made it so that I'm walking across campus. I'm in this hot spot of socializing, and I'm not needing to scrunch my face anymore. As a result, I became so much more approachable. People who kind of knew me or didn't know me felt comfortable saying hi, conversing, talking. And that's all because of kind of the energy that you put out. How you are perceived is crucial to the relationships that you have and can kind of create in your life. And we have to be aware of those things. All right, let me see. All right, I need another volunteer to read this next paragraph.
I'll read.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, where are we starting at? When
It's the paragraph that has the purple at the end of it. When people are, do you see that?
Yeah, when people are instructed to ask more questions, they are perceived as higher in responsiveness and interpersonal construct that captures lightning, understanding, validation, care. The researchers wrote. Keep going.
No. That's good. So I want to sit back and look at this, right? Let's sit back and make sure we really dive into what this is saying, right? When people are instructed to ask more questions, they're perceived as higher in responsiveness, right? Now, what does that mean? At an interview, I want you guys to put yourself in a situation of an interview, right? Because when you're in an interview, you have to realize everything that you're doing, you're being evaluated on. What is this saying about if you're being interviewed, right? And you're asking questions, what might the interviewer think of you?
You're not prepared.
All right. They might think that you're not prepared. All right, we'll take that. What else? And again, everybody go back to the source material. What are they saying about this? The information that's on this screen is kind of getting to the point where this could be make or break in terms of getting a job or making a good first impression.
Yeah, you're perceived as intelligent and curious because you're asking questions after questions, seeking more information.
And that's just by asking questions. They're not asking you any math tests. They're not asking you how to solve problems, right? As a result of you having follow-up questions, they're perceiving you as more intelligent. And you know what? I don't mean to I don't want to get too real here, but I was just on the search committee at Cheney University. And that's exactly what happened. There were two candidates, and I just read between the lines. I look at people's kind of vita, right? But the other people that were on their vita is like kind of a resume, in case you don't know, right? But I'm looking at people's resume in terms of what they're able to bring to the table. But there was a stark difference between two candidates that were competitive. One candidate had a whole bunch of follow-up questions, right? The other individual was just like, no, you guys did a good job, right? And I don't have any questions. You guys did it. Now, consistent with this research, when we are looking at the people who are on the hiring committee, who do you think we liked more? Did we like the person who didn't have any follow-up questions, or the people that had a whole bunch of follow-up questions? All right, we're looking for some contributions, guys.
The one with a bunch of follow-up questions.
Yes. And you know what the funny thing is? The follow-up questions that the person asked were not even good follow-up questions. The follow-up question that the person asked were really asking us to repeat what we had already said. But you got to think about, this is going deep into the psychology, right? People like to talk. I'm an example of a person I think that likes to talk. I think everybody likes to talk, even if they have a little bit of anxiety, right? So if you have a little bit of anxiety, that means you might not volunteer to talk, but if someone sets the occasion for you to talk, you enjoy it. When you're in an interview and the individual asks you a question, it gives you the green light. It gives you the invitation to speak. Now, when you speak and you're enjoying yourself speak, you're also enjoying the person that you are speaking with. It is it's psychology down to the physics. And I had to sit back and say, like, guys, yeah, this person was talkative and they were bubbly, but do you realize that the questions that she were asking were basic? I mean, look at these questions. The questions were like clarification, like, how do I know how to find students? So I'm like, what? Like, you don't know how to find students? But consistent with this research, since they were following up with questions, they were perceived to be more intelligent, even though in my mind, I think, now again, I'm biased, right? But it might argue pound for pound, the individual who was sharper, who understood the aspects of the job, who understood the job and didn't have any questions or concern, since they didn't ask questions, since they didn't give the people on the panel the opportunity to talk, to enjoy themselves talking, and then to also enjoy who they're talking to, they perceive them as being more likable and more likely. I'm not going to say about who we hired at the position, but it was a very explicit conversation that we had afterwards. And it came down to some really good debates about, like, yeah, you're right. Those questions were kind of basic, right? But again, it's not allowed to sit back, and I don't want to sit back and say the other person was dumb as a result. They just might have been uncomfortable. But I wanted to make sure that we're aware of how psychology is playing us to be biased towards liking someone as a result of these processes playing out in real time. All right, now I need the next individual who can read. And you should stop where I have highlighted at the very end with questions.
I can read.
All right, thank you so much.
So how do you move from tongue-tied to being a charismatic and interesting person? It depends on the question you start with, and then you can focus on the stream of follow-up questions.
Exactly. Now, what we're going to do right now we're going to get really into the heart of what it is that this article is really about. I've just really been setting the stage for this, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of you to kind of read this first segment. Now, I'm going to need 3 volunteers for this right here, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of highlight how I want you guys to kind of read this. All right, the first volunteer, I'd like to read what I highlighted in red right now on the screen.
I'll do it.
Volunteer, I would like them to read what I highlighted in yellow. And then the third volunteer, I would like to read these examples. Oh, you know what? We're gonna have 3 people. Have a little share a little love right here. And they go back. So I need 3 people, right? Now I'm hoping to get 3 people that haven't talked yet, right? But let's commit to who's
I'll
with.
do it.
All right, you do. And what's your name? Say your name again. I'm sorry.
Jada.
Say it again.
Jada.
Oh, Jada. I'm sorry. All right. Who's the next volunteer?
I'll read.
All right, and your name is
Isaiah.
Isaiah. And then Madison, you raise your hand. You interested?
Yeah, I could do it. I did it.
All right, so I'm gonna put yellow. I'm gonna put green. I'm gonna put red. Right now, here's a challenge, guys. Right. Not only do I want you guys to read this, right? What I want you guys to also do is this, because you guys kind of know, right? You guys have been saying stuff, and I've tried to sit back there and follow it up, put a little focus and put a little flavor on it, right? So in addition to just reading, right? I want you guys to read it, but then to also to see if you have any assistance in clarifying it and putting it in your own words, right? And I'll challenge that. Now I'm here, so if you sit back and say, Dr. Barnes, I need a little help making sense of this, just say it, and I'll be right here to sit back and help you. But I'm giving you guys an ultimate challenge to kind of do that. Now, is there another individual? I don't want to, I want to make it so that we can all have an opportunity to participate. Is there another individual who would like to kind of be like, I would say like a cheerleader to, after Jada reads, they can refer to you, see if there's anything you want to say. After Isaiah reads, you can be kind of like a support staff. Who would like to do that? Any volunteers on that? I think I heard a hand. Okay, no support staff. So we're gonna leave it that way, right? So we got those 3 people. I'm here to support you, but I wanna see if you guys can congratulate and kind of emphasize and focus what I would focus on. But again, I'm not trying to say I'm not here to help you, just to let me know if you need some assistance, and I'll be right back to assist you. But I will start off. We're gonna start
Okay,
off.
so you want us to read it or make it in our own word?
Read it and then make it in your own words.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you'll read the word for word, but then to sit back and try to elaborate it to the best of your understanding. Right? Now, this talks about 7 strategies that we're going to do. The first one is to use the ACT trick to start a connection. And we'll have Jada, and Madison help us with that.
Shall I start?
Yep.
When was the last time you were in a meeting that didn't start with small talk? It's a natural way for people to connect. Start with a question that will build up to a conversation that meets the ACT criteria.
Okay. Any way to put?
Oh, what?
Would you put that in your own words?
Oh, I thought we were just gonna go and then go back. When was the last time you were in a meeting? So we start a conversation? Like, what do you mean? Start a conversation and using the ACT.
All right. I'm gonna sit back and help you, right? It's a little like this, right? I like the little uncomfortableness, right?
I did.
Yeah. So you want to do a meeting, it didn't start with small talk. It's a natural way for people to connect. So that's the really key thing, right? And actually, I wonder if I should do it at this class. Right now, we got 3 people volunteering. Imagine, right? If at the start of class, I wasn't so caught up on trying to get my camera ready, but I was engaging in small talk with each of you, right? It might be the fact that the small talk that I engage in with you, it does a number of things. The students who I have small talk with would be more willing to read when it's reading and participating in class. And also the fact that other people, even if I don't engage in small talk with them, right? They might be willing to sit back and read because seeing the environment that I'm trying to create. So that small talk is very important. Maybe I should be starting class with a question that will build up to the conversation about what we're doing here. And I kind of start these lectures off with me telling you stories, but it's not small talk, right? It's focused on why it's important to me. Why that's not small talk. What might be better is to sit back and have to start today's lecture off by saying, all right, guys, when was the last time that you were at a meeting? Or how do you feel at the beginning of class when the teacher's waiting for 5 or 6 students to come to class and nobody's saying something? That small talk might have been a better way to segue and talk about small talk, which is what we're talking about here today. So that's what I kind of look at in terms of what I mean. One thing to read it, and then to try to sit back and to make it in your own words and your meaning. But again, I've been doing this for a while, so don't worry, Jada. I'm here to help Isaiah and Madison if they need it as well. All right, next, Isaiah.
I thought it was yellow.
I'm doing it.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, A, there's authenticity. You wanna be yourself, and you don't wanna try and seem like you're somebody else, because in the end, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. And you wanna be original. C, there's a connection. You wanna try and form a relationship. This can help with networking. If you're just having a dry conversation, it's gonna come and it's gonna go. But if you build a connection, that can ultimately lead you to opportunities and open doors for you. T, there's a topic that will give them a taste of who you are. So you want to show them a bit of your personality and what you're about. And that kind of ties in with being authentic and being yourself and being original.
Yes, absolutely.
That's my on that.
Hey, absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you, now this is actually, I hear this, I'm loving how you guys go through it. I hope you guys let me know whether or not you like doing this or not, right? But it really is a way to sit back and to make sure that you can really get comfortable with content. I always tell students that, you know what, you'll never know if you understand something until you're faced with trying to communicate it to someone else, right? And again, the one thing I do want to make sure that you guys realize is that what you just mentioned with the authentic, the connection, and the taste of who you are, remember, we're calling this the ACT trick. Do you guys see that the A stands for authentic? The C stands for the connection that you're making, and the T is to give them a taste of who you are. That's the core of what this ACT trick is. And you know what? I realize now I understand what went on. I did this wrong. Isaiah, you're actually green. All right. So yeah, do you mind taking on where we are?
Some of those questions might be, what's your current state of mind? And I feel like this forces you to be more specific about what mentally is going on with you, instead of just asking, how are you?
Excellent.
Okay. Another question would be, what are you looking forward to this week? This can open up conversation about details in your life. You know, it's better than just asking, how are you? Because I mean, good, okay. There's nothing more to say on that. But you could build a lot more conversation with this question.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. All right, now something is wrong with my screen. Ooh, okay, so let me get back to what we're doing in class. Excellent. Now, this is what we're going to do right now. Ooh, we got 12 people. I like this. All right, so my camera still won't work. I was hoping that maybe I could just press it and it would work. All right, what I'm going to do right now is this. I'm going to break you guys up. I'm going to break you guys up into groups, right? Now, what's on D2L? And I've been tweaking this in the background while you guys are doing this, right? I'm going to break you guys up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. And we have 12 people. So I'm going to create breakout rooms right now. And there's going to be 6 breakout rooms. So that means we're going to assign everybody automatically. It's going to be 2 participants in each room. I'm not going to join them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the chat right now. This is a link to everybody in this class has D2L. So I believe if you click on the link that's in the chat, it will take you to D2L. It will ask you to log into D2L, right? And when it asks you to log into D2L, I think it's going to take you exactly to where this article is. Exactly where this is. What I'd like you guys to do is do me a favor while I'm working on this one last thing in the background. click on this link, right? Have it open up to take you to D2L, log in. You guys give me some feedback. Let me know if this really is taking you to the article like I think that it should and it's intended to do.
Yeah, it took me right to the article after I logged in.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Now, what we're going to do is this. Everybody's going to be in groups of twos. What I want you guys to do is to finish reading these articles, right? So that means you guys will take turns. Somebody will read 2. The next person in your group of 2 will read 3. The next person will read 4. They'll read 5. They'll read 6. Now, after you read those back and forth, what's on D2L is going to be a short quiz. I'm going to allow the 2 of you, right? Now, you only need 1 of you to do this. When you take this quiz, it's going to have you type in your name and the name of your partner, right? So the first question will be writing your name, first, last, and the name of your partner. Then it's going to ask you 6 questions consistent with these paragraphs that we're reading. You guys will have 5 times to take this quiz. The goal is this. The goal is for you to get 100% on that, and that's going to make you guys present today. So instead of me going back and forth and me reading and going over the articles and having you read and discuss, your attendance today is going to be based on the 2 of you and your partner going in your breakout rooms. You can either share screen or not share the screen. You don't necessarily need to if you're both looking at it. But if somebody needs a screen, please help out your partner if you want to. And then when you go in and take this quiz, you guys will have 5 times. Now, you're in groups of 2. So let me pretend that Madison and Kamal are a group, right? Now, Kamal's like, man, I don't really feel like logging in, right? So essentially, Madison can log in. Question 1 will ask for her name. She'll write it. The next item will ask for her partner's name. It'll be Kamal. Then they'll answer these questions. I'm going to look at how she put her name and her teammate's name, her partner's name, and that will be how she will get, both of them will get credit for it. So Kamal, you don't need to take the quiz if Madison's doing it, or you could switch it around where Kamal, you could be doing the quiz, put in Madison's name, and Madison won't have to do it. But you guys can work through this collaboratively. You guys can use print screen. You can just go into the quiz at the same time. You guys can, this is no cheating, but you can answer it. It'll be based off the article. You can even have the article open while you're doing it. But again, we need 1 person from each of these 2-person groups to take that quiz to indicate your names. And that's how attendance is going to be based today. All right. Anybody have any questions on what I'm encouraging us to do for the rest of class?
How are we going to be split into the 2 groups? Like, where are we going to be at? Like,
all right. You might not be familiar with breakout rooms, but if the button's on my screen right now, I'm actually going to create a breakout room. And since there's 12 people in here, I'm creating 6 rooms. So it will automatically assign you with a random person in this class. And when I press this create button, you'll see something pop up on, and you go into that room, you'll be able to, somebody just took off left. You'll be able to go in that room with your teammate and your partner. All right. So it will pop up. And before I leave, I'll make sure that I'll do it. Now I'm going to let you guys know, I have not made the quiz go live just yet. So I want you guys to go in and read the article back and forth first. And then when you go to the course homepage in D2L, you'll see the quiz and you'll be able to take it.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So to be clear, you're reading this entire passage with your partner, and then once the quiz pops up, you're answering questions in regards to the quiz?
Yep, in regards to the article. In regards to the article.
Okay.
All right, Madison, you raised your hand. You have a question?
Yes. What should we do once we are done with reading and the quiz?
When you're done with the reading and the quiz, class is over. Class is over.
Okay.
I'm going to create these breakout rooms. Open all rooms right now, right? You know what? I'm going to move Savannah, since your teammate left, I'm going to move you to a group. Just, I don't want you to be by yourself. I'm going to move you in with Maya and Leon in room 2. So there's one group of 3 people, that might be an unfair advantage, but it's not fair for people to kind of try to dip out, leave, and make you work by yourself. All right, so I'm going to open all rooms with a press of a button. I'm going to stop recording because this is no longer interesting and or fun.